Good evening and welcome to Premier League Live on the third and final night of action of our midweek coverage. Already 9 games down, and it is the finale of Matchday 30 here this evening as a London derby takes place at Stamford Bridge as Chelsea take on Tottenham. A Chelsea side chasing Champions League football and can move themselves back up into the top 4 with a victory tonight, but it's against the Spurs side who they will always cause a tough task. But this is a Spurs side that are in the bottom half of the table and looking to grapple for any sort of positivity from their pretty dismal campaign and their second under Ange Postecoglou. As the players come out to the field, let's have a look at already this midweek's scorelines in the Premier League. Arsenal got a win on Tuesday night. Wolves got a big victory at home to West Ham. It was a big result for Champions League chasing Nottingham Forest as well against Manchester United. A rare win for Ipswich to keep their hopes of safety alive. Villa, Man City, Newcastle, all chasing Champions League football, all getting victories last night, and Southampton Palace dropping points, along with Liverpool, who went 12 points clear at the top of the Premier League table with a big Derby Day victory at Anfield. That is our match week 30 so far. One more to go, and let's see what the teams are for this one tonight. Starting with Chelsea. The home side, Robert Sanchez starts in goal. A back 4 of Malo Gusto, Levi Colwill, Trevor Chalobah and Marc Cucurella in defence. Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, the captain, are in midfield. Cole Palmer in the 10. Jadon Sancho on the right side. Neto on the left-hand side. And Nicholas Jackson leading the line for Chelsea. On the bench for the Blues, Jorgensen, Tosin, Badiashile, Achiampong, James, Dewsbury Hall, Madueke, George and Nkunku. For Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham, who sit in 14th in the table, they start with Guillermo Vicario in goal. A back 4 of Jed Spence, Christian Romero, Mickey van de Ven and Destiny Udogie. In midfield, Rodrigo Bentancur is alongside Lucas Bergvall, with James Maddison a bit further forward. A front 3 of Wilson Odobert, Heung-min Son, the captain, and Dominic Solanke. On the bench for Spurs, Kinski, Porro Gray, Davies, Bissouma Sarr, Johnson, Moore and Tell. It's one of the London derbies we always pin for the calendar. It's Chelsea chasing Champions League. It's Spurs looking to grasp at any sort of hope of positivity to end the season. Matchday 30 concludes tonight. It's Chelsea v Tottenham. Live next. A very good evening. Welcome to this live watch-along commentary of Chelsea against Tottenham, our final game of our midweek fixtures. It's been a great midweek for this one. It's been a fantastic midweek of action. It started on Tuesday night with a 1-0 victory for Nottingham Forest. We watched here that beautiful goal by Anthony Elanga. Then last night, Diogo Jota's incredible finish gave Liverpool all 3 points as the league leaders look to make it a Premier League title-winning season. And they're only a number of games away from that being the case. Tonight, we end on a London derby. One where both sides are really nowhere near the same expectations or the same outcomes of this season. Chelsea maybe above where people expected them to be. Spurs well below where anyone really expected their season to be at this point of the campaign. Starting in April. At the start of April, sitting in 14th in the Premier League table. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That'll be greatly appreciated, and we thank each and every one of you for joining us here this evening. Our referee this evening for this one is Craig Pawson. Our VAR, if I can get that for you. Our VAR is Jared Gillett. There we are. As we get underway in this London derby. A big one of great significance for both of these two teams with very different ambitions at this stage of the season. Really, really poor from Spurs this season. It's been well below par, well below the levels we kind of expected them to be at. But a lot of injuries, maybe one of the main reasons as to why they are where they are, but one would call that an excuse if you're to really be harsh on them. Ball over the top here, in behind, and it's Jackson! Oh, he hit off the post! Come off the keeper, back to Jackson, and the toe poke comes off the post. As Palmer, Neto has a shot. It's Caicedo now, gives it wide here for Chelsea. One long ball over the top, in behind the Spurs defence. And Nicholas Jackson had free roam at the goalkeeper and almost gave Chelsea an early lead. Sancho down the left side runs Cole Palmer. Palmer's low cross, and Jackson just beaten to it there in the middle by one of the Spurs defenders. Spence now comes away with the ball. Lovely little turn. Breaks into space, Jed Spence. Runs into a Chelsea body as they win it back now. Fernandez gives it away cheaply. And now a break is on here for Spurs down this left-hand side. Here's Son. Son in the box. Heung-min Son. Well charged down. That will be a corner. Goodness me, what a start. The ball over the top. I'm trying to see who played it. It might have been Chalobah. It was Trevor Chalobah lifting a ball over the top right through the Spurs defence. Romero and Van de Ven completely clean through. Was Nicholas Jackson. Takes it down really nicely off his left shoulder. Then the block by Vicario. It falls back to Nicholas Jackson, whose shot ends up deflecting and onto the right hand post. Goodness me, that was a close one. Welcome in, Taffy. Great to have you with us. Good to see you back here this evening after you were here last night as well. But been a really frantic first 2 minutes or so in this London derby at Stamford Bridge. And Spurs get the corner here, the first corner of the game. Moises Caicedo's a little bit walking a bit wobbly there. Corner low across the front post, but really poor cross in the end, and Maddison was involved, but it really turned out to be nothing as it was cleared away from danger there by Chelsea. As Vicario tried to find a target on that left flank and cleared away convincingly, this time by Malo Gusto, who puts it out for the Spurs throw in this left hand side. Romero to Spence. Spence trying to reverse the ball round the corner, but put it straight out of play for a Chelsea throw-in. Well, these two teams have been the pretty prime example of inconsistency this season, albeit Chelsea getting far better results out of their inconsistent season than Spurs. As Moises Caicedo has gone down here. I said he was looking a little bit uncertain about his situation defending that corner a moment or two ago, and now he has just gone to ground, so he is getting treatment, Moises Caicedo. As I was saying about the inconsistencies about these two teams this season, Chelsea on 49 points in 6th at the moment, 14 wins, 7 draws and 8 defeats from their 29 league games. Spurs 10 wins, 4 draws and 15 defeats. So Spurs have almost double the amount of defeats that Chelsea have at this point of the season, and almost half the amount of draws. And that's where the difference comes in this, is the whole idea of if you can't win a game, make sure you don't lose it. And I think Spurs have completely and utterly disregarded that this season. When they've lost badly. And albeit they haven't conceded many's a goal, 43 goals conceded this season for Spurs, which isn't awful. It's only 6 more than what Chelsea have conceded, so it's not like they're miles away from defensively where Chelsea are. It's just when they lose, they just seem to lose it badly, and they just don't show up on that day. It's either they do really well and show up and play really good football, or they just completely don't show up, Spurs, and they lose really poorly, and really bad games as well to lose, especially at home. Sancho held that ball up well as we're back underway. Moises Caicedo a little bit worse for wear. Here's Sancho down the left-hand side here for Chelsea up against Spence. Sancho breaks into the box, has to cut it back to Palmer. Squared it across to Gusto. Now Enzo Fernandez. Back wide it goes to the overlapping Cucurella. Sancho. Caicedo is still a bit hobbly. As the cross comes in from Cucurella, cleared away. Gusto shot! Hit wide of the right post. It came crashing off the side netting, which confused a few of the Chelsea fans who thought it had nestled in the bottom corner. But it just goes narrowly wide from Malo Gusto, edge of the box. The right idea. It's just that little bit wide. Perfect idea. Just not the most clean execution. Just didn't strike through the ball well enough and opened his body a little bit too much there, Malo Gusto, which forced the ball a little bit wider. But decent opportunity. And already Chelsea have had two really decent goal-scoring opportunities. First one with the ball over the top for Nicholas Jackson inside 50 seconds, and then that one there for Malo Gusto. Two very good goal-scoring opportunities in these early moments for the Blues. Spurs and Chelsea both know how to score goals early. Spurs with 12 goals in the first 15 minutes of games this season, more than anyone else. And Chelsea with 9 goals in the first 15 minutes of Premier League games. That's 4th on that list. So both love to score early. And here's Sancho to try and repeat that as he gets the deflection off Spence. The ball will stay in play. Sancho, right footed cross, headed away by Romero. Bentancur trying to feed it on to a Spurs teammate, but it goes out of play for another Chelsea throw-in. Colwell feeding it into Palmer. Wide it goes to Sancho again. Back to Cucurella. Sancho closed down there, and ultimately the referee has said the last touch came off Jadon Sancho, so Spurs will get the throw in here. Ooh, Vicario, goodness me. That was really lucky. Vicario tried to play it long, and it hit off the back of Pedro Neto and fell to Mickey van de Ven. But that could have been really bad from Guillermo Vicario, who has had his injury problems this season, the Spurs goalkeeper. Obviously returned from injury well before the international break, and has had a couple of very good games recently. But his first game actually back from injury for over 3 months was against Manchester United. He's kept a clean sheet in a number of his games since returning. Good 4 clean sheets since returning. Certainly maybe getting back to the levels he had before the injury, because Vicario, for a while, when he first came into the Spurs team and the Spurs squad, he was probably one of the best savers in the league, in kind of shot stoppers wise. The amount of his save ratio was quite through the roof in the early days, almost 80% save ratio, which is quite remarkable in the Premier League. And I'm sure the Spurs fans hoping he can get back to that level. Here is James Maddison. Doggy. Back to Madison. I've got to say, we have missed this Spurs team. In my opinion, I've missed actually watching Tottenham. They are entertaining, and they give the ball away cheaply there, because here's Cole Palmer on the break now. Chelsea on the move, the front four on the move. Sancho, edge of the box. Shot took a deflection. It will be a corner. Just as I was saying about how much I've enjoyed watching, missed watching Spurs, they give the ball away, and that's probably one of the reasons we do love watching Spurs. They do give silly mistakes away. That's Palmer on the counter-attack, finding Sancho, edge of the D, has his shot with the right foot, deflected off, I think it was Jed Spence, and it will be a Chelsea corner. It was a simple ball down that left-hand side. The Spurs just lost the 50-50, and they were instantly carved open. Here to take this Chelsea corner, their first of the game. It will be Pedro Neto that will take it. Lots of Chelsea bodies in and around the 6-yard box. Only 2 of them inside the 6-yard box, but a good crowd just outside the 6-yard box in the central area, which referee Craig Pawson has to make sure there's no undue pulling or grabbing or any of that sort of stuff. That it's not over kind of the threshold. And we will just await this corner. Still a lot of tugging and pulling. It's like a toddler's play pool in there. They're just trying to shove each other over. It's Romero and Colwell that are the main culprits. The referee is talking to Christian Romero. He feels he's the kind of perpetrator, along with Levi Colwell, and it's the second time the referee's had to converse with those group of players. Just get on with it. Just take the corner. Neto is ready to take it. The corner whipped in. Oh, off the front post. Still not cleared away by Spurs. It comes back out to Neto on this right side. Here's Fernandez. Just about got the pass off. Now Palmer. Lifts one into the box, trying to find Jackson. Strange clearance, and then Jackson's follow-up effort into the hands of Vicario. Vicario's looked a bit nervy so far. We'll see this, Cole Palmer's cross, and Vicario tries to come, he does come for it, but instead of trying to grab it, he just punches it right up into the air. And it's a very catchable cross. It's not got venomous pace on it or anything of any sort of worry for him. He should just simply catch it, and again, another situation where he could have been caught out. Just got away with it. That's a lovely little move there through the lines by Solanke, but as he got forward, he was dispossessed. It's Colwell's ball. Didn't quite reach. I don't think there's really much contact in there. I gotta really be honest. In my opinion, I don't really see any issue with that bit of defending against Dominic Solanke. I can see why he wanted a penalty, but yeah, just not in my opinion. Here's Audebert trying to cross it, blocked. A doggy now. Right in this left side, cross comes in. It's too high there, and that's easily caught by Robert Sanchez. Well, that's one position. You'd say Spurs have 2 very good goalkeepers, or at least very capable goalkeepers in Premier League terms. That's something Chelsea don't have, I'd have to say. They're 2 very basic goalkeepers that Chelsea have, in my opinion. I don't think either of them are strong or kind of commanding for a top team in Robert Sanchez or Philip Jorgensen. I don't think either of them are good enough quality for Chelsea. If they want to be a competing Champions League side, I think they need to invest in a better goalkeeper, because Robert Sanchez was let go by Brighton for a reason. They obviously didn't think he was good enough, and he wasn't doing well when he played for them. That's why they got rid of him, and they were, I'm sure, very happy to see Chelsea's wallet come through the door to buy him. But just not good enough, Chelsea, in terms of their goalkeeper situation. Here's Enzo Fernandez. Ball goes wide on the right side here. Neto trying to eke a bit of space. Gets past the doggy. And the cross by Malo Gusto is nowhere to be seen but out for a goal kick. The ball back there. They were a little bit unhappy for a second, but the crowd quickly silenced as Chelsea have the ball back again. And the ball over the top comes here. Again, that threatening ball over the top. Neto this time is the target. And a doggy trying to battle. And a doggy does well in battling, but he just can't win the ball back. Caicedo. Colwell now finding Cucurella. Nice Sancho trying to break into the box, rolls it through. Cole Palmer across, and the ball, is it kept out? It is into the hands of Vicario. Enzo Fernandez came sliding in, and he couldn't direct the ball over the line. Surely that was a certain opportunity. Lovely little deft ball across by Cole Palmer. And right across, low and hard, and Enzo Fernandez tries as he must, but gets his legs tangled, cannot force the ball over the line, and Vicario quickly recovers, diving on top of the ball, a yard away from his goal line. Dangerous. But in the end, unaffected were the Spurs defenders. Well, they probably should have done a lot better, but again, a little bit of luck. Here's Bergvall. Lovely little dribbles. Gets the ball into the box, back post. Couldn't find a teammate in there as Chelsea clear their lines. You can really feel it. Both teams are a little bit nervous defensively. Both teams are really not on it in that sense. When it comes to defending, you both look a bit nervous. And if you're a supporter of either team, that doesn't really bode well for your nerves and your kind of anxiousness watching the game. For the neutral, it makes it a little bit more exciting. Son tried to force a ball around the corner there towards James Maddison, but forced was the right word because he well overhit it and went for a goal kick. But you see that chance again for Enzo Fernandez. Such a good opportunity. Really beautiful work by Sancho and Palmer. And Palmer's ball across. It just evades Enzo Fernandez, and a doggy does enough in cover to try and just take the pace off the ball and take any sort of roll away, and stops it from rolling in. And then his keeper's there to catch the ball in the end. But yeah, a nervy moment for Spurs defensively there. A very nearly moment for Chelsea. As Cucurella does well, winning it back one-on-one as he tries to send Palmer in. But again, a little bit overhit, allowing Romero to retrieve. Audebert. Spence. Again, wasteful ball. Tried to force it in behind for Solanke, but Colwell's there to intercept. And possession is as probably 50-50 as you can get it. It is exactly 50-50, which if you weren't kind of looking at the stats, you would probably expect anyway. Neither side can really keep the ball on a consistent basis at the minute. It's you have a go, I have a go, you have a go, I have a go kind of feeling. Neither side able to take a grasp of this game just yet. Only 21 minutes gone. Still a long way to go for anything to happen. Still 0-0 between Chelsea and Tottenham. It's live watch-along commentary on LFS with me, Kevin Ferris. Great to have you all with us this evening. It's a nice ball through by Fernandes to Jackson, but he just didn't know where to look on that occasion. Gusto keeps it alive. Wide it goes to Neto. Neto back to Fernandes. Now Gusto. And Chalobah. Colwell. Keeping the ball moving a little bit better, Chelsea. Palmer. Cucurella back to Palmer. Dribbling his way through there, but dribbling the ball out of play. And Ange Postecoglou there, visibly, viscerally shouting at his players. Clearly not happy with whatever they're doing. Saying whatever they're doing is not the right thing at the minute. Very interesting. Maybe not happy with how kind of slow his team are. They haven't been pretty quick so far. They've been, I wouldn't say off it, that's a bit harsh, but I would say they have been a little bit laboured in their possession. But then again, so have Chelsea. So it's not that either side have been overly worse than the other. It's maybe just Chelsea have actually had closer and maybe better opportunities than Spurs so far in the game. We've got into better positions, better shooting opportunities. Neto looking for the cross. There was two bodies in there, Jackson and Palmer, with the cross by Pedro Neto. Just too much height on it. Otherwise it could have found one of his teammates. Two very good runs, well timed, right area. Just needed the delivery, and it would have been a really nice goal if it had have found one of the heads of those two players. Well, it has been a long time since these two played Premier League football. Of course, it has been almost half a month. Chelsea's last Premier League game was on the 16th of March, and that was the 1-0 defeat to Arsenal on March the 16th. Spurs' last Premier League game was a 2-0 defeat to Fulham, also on the 16th of March. So it's been a good few weeks since both of these teams played Premier League football, with the international break, of course, and then the FA Cup weekend last weekend. Of course, neither side involved in that FA Cup, so both had the weekend off there. So it has been a while since either of these two played in the Premier League, and both trying to come back from defeats without scoring in those respective games away from home, albeit very different opposition. Fulham probably much more beatable than Arsenal, if you had to look at it that way, but again, not a surprise considering Spurs' season that they lost to Fulham. And no disrespect to Fulham either. Fulham aside themselves chasing Europe in 9th at the moment. Only actually would be only 4 points behind Chelsea in the table. Oh, that's awful. What is that? I gotta say, some of these passes from Tottenham are absolutely shocking. I mean, Kemio Vicario, under no pressure whatsoever, just absolutely rifles a ball to his right back in Jed Spence, who just can't control the ball because there's just far too much pace on it. It's just silly little things like that. I mean, Spurs would probably do so much better if they could actually make that simple pass. I mean, it sounds obvious. Obviously, they would do better if they could do the simple things right. But, I mean, just unforced errors. Riddled with them are Tottenham. Another long ball over the top. Oh, Van de Ven had to make something of that because it was bouncing in behind for Pedro Neto. And he just about got enough on it to take it away from the Chelsea man. Chelsea again have the ball back. Colaya, is that? Colya? Welcome in, great to have you with us. Here's Sancho. Couldn't squeeze through. Good block by Bentancur there. He's chasing the ball down now. Here's Neto with it. Right hand side. Back to Gusto. Just seems like Chelsea have a little bit more momentum. A little bit more meaningful with their possession. There's Neto with a cross. Oh, missed Palmer. Brought down by Sancho. Back heels it. Cucurella's cross. Headed behind for a corner by Destiny Udogie. That was much better from Chelsea. Neto's cross just over the head of Palmer. Brought down by Sancho, who backheeled it into the path of Cucurella. Whips a cross in and headed behind by Udogie at the back post. That was much better from Chelsea. Much more threatening. And exactly what I meant by their possession having a little bit more purpose at the moment than Spurs' possession. Spurs just trying to pass the ball to anybody in a white and navy shirt, but Chelsea a little bit more conviction in their passes, and they have another corner on this right hand side. A lot more pushing and shoving, just like the last one. A left footed delivery by Neto, deep to the back post, but too deep that time. Again, a bit of hit and miss with those crosses so far, Pedro Neto. A couple of really good ones and a couple of ones just overhit. Well, don't forget, Premier League football is back, and it's back until the end of the season now. So the next 8-9 weeks we'll have all for you here on LFS, including a massive one at the weekend as the Manchester Derby will have live here Sunday 4:30 from Old Trafford. Man United taking on Manchester City. Man United, another one like Spurs that have had a torrid season and just want to get any sort of positivity out of it. And a defeat to Nottingham Forest in midweek certainly wasn't one they wanted. It certainly wasn't one I don't think I was not expecting. I was expecting that, to be completely honest. But United trying to bounce back then in the derby at the weekend. And I have to say, the Manchester Derby certainly hasn't been bad to Manchester United over the last number of years. That's lovely from Jackson. One-on-one. Oh, he's got the ball back again. Here's Jackson. Curls it. Oh, too much height. Too much height there, Nicholas Jackson. Otherwise, that would have been 1-0. Again, Spurs really struggle in these one-on-one defensive situations where the ball goes over the top. And Romero this time just really lost any sort of flight of the ball. Jackson brought it down. He couldn't take the touch the second time. The ball comes away from him. Then just walks around the Spurs defence. Gets the ball the second time. Tries to curl it to the far corner. And just puts too much height behind it. Sailed over the bar. Again, Spurs, another situation to be wary. Their high line isn't working at the moment. And Chelsea looking to exploit it time and time again with those looping balls over the top. And on those one-on-one situations, Spurs look really poor. That's where Chelsea are getting a little bit more joy out of them at the moment. We've barely seen any of their attackers in Spurs' colours so far. Solanke, Son, even Maddison to an extent we've barely seen in the game. As Jackson there, fouled by Mickey van der Ven. Free kick to Chelsea. 30 minutes gone. Still 0-0. Chelsea with 4 shots. Spurs with just the 1. But only 1 shot on target from Chelsea so far. Chalobah. Caicedo. Cucurella. Now finding Palmer. Forces the ball towards Jackson. Controls it well. Spins his man. Jackson couldn't get the pass off, but well won back there by Enzo Fernandez. And Palmer tried to step across to have a shot. Ended up being dispossessed. Went down. Referee said it was a fair challenge, but they now have the ball back again, Chelsea. Fernandez. Sancho in the box. Jadon Sancho rolls it on for Palmer. He's trying to get a corner and does win a corner, Cole Palmer. And now he will complain about the earlier situation of not getting a free kick. We'll see it again. Palmer takes the touch, then tries to roll it round his defender and Mickey van der Ven. See it again. Yeah. To be fair, Mickey van der Ven doesn't get the ball initially. I could see why Cole Palmer was a bit annoyed with not getting that. Pretty understandably so. Mickey van der Ven didn't get the first ball. maybe had a claim there. So it will be a corner though to Chelsea. This left-hand side. Fernandes to deliver this time from the left, and ball almost finding the back of the net there as it sailed across. But Spurs get the clearance, the key one, and now they're on their move. Here's Wilson Odobert rolling through. Oh, well, really good time challenge by Moises Caicedo. One-on-one. Fabulous little challenge. And Chelsea have the possession again here with Gusto, central. Gusto again. Misplaced ball. Spence feeds it down the line. Odobert. Back to Bergvall. Bergvall, edge of the box. Lucas Bergvall! Shot charged down. And Colwell now to Fernandes. End-to-end stuff at the minute. Neto, lovely little chest of the ball there. Feeds it on to Fernandes. Now Palmer. Sancho breaking into the box. Jadon Sancho onto his right foot. Rolls past another defender. Rolls back with it. Again, not able to get the shot off. Too many touches. And in the end, without getting the shot off, Spurs can clear their lines. Clear them of danger. Caicedo. Gusto. Well, they may not have excitement this season in terms of their cup competition results, either of these two teams, but they're both still in Europe. Spurs still in the Europa League, have a quarter-final on the way against Eintracht Frankfurt. Chelsea have a Conference League quarter-final on the way against Legia Warsaw. Both sides with those upcoming next midweek. So both have European successes on the mind. I've got to see the touches. The fewest touches. I said Solanke, Son and Maddison we've barely seen. Well, there's a reason for that, because they've had the three least amount of touches of any players in this game, including goalkeepers. Fascinating. That's why Spurs just can't get the ball forward. And the only player they've really been able to find in an attacking area so far is Wilson Odobert on the right wing. That's a lovely little adjustment there from Fernandes. The switch ball by Neto. Taken down beautifully by Sancho. Drive into the box. Jadon Sancho running the white shirts again. Finds Cucurella. Drilled it across. Blocked by Bergvall. Now Spence. Caught in possession, but he made the mistake himself. Sancho not able to capitalise. Again, gets to the right areas. Cannot find the finish or get the shot off. And now Spurs will get a free kick here with Dominic Solanke having been fouled. Yeah. 10 minutes to go with this first half. It's been one of those halves where it's been quite clear that both sides have been inconsistent this season. It's really clear. And what I mentioned earlier, it's really just continued. You have a go, I have a go sort of thing. Chelsea have had a little bit more possession than Spurs. But in terms of meaningful possession, Spurs have really been non-existent. Almost exclusively in their own half when they get the ball, Spurs. Up until this point so far. That's a lovely ball by Maddison though. Out to the left side. Here's Son driving into the box, as we all so often see. And the cross cleared away by Sanchez, although given away to Bentancur. Now Maddison trying to hold on. Lost the ball. Chelsea give it right back to Spurs. Udogie to Son down the left hand side. Heung-min Son rolls it on for Udogie. Tries to get the cross in. It was flicked behind for a Spurs corner. Yeah, that's it. Gotta say, Son with the cross, low and hard across the 6-yard box. Strong left hand by Sanchez. And it comes off Colwell and then it falls to the Spurs attackers again. But That was a difficult ball to deal with, to give Sanchez a little bit of credit there. We have another corner here, Tottenham. They've barely had a touch in the Chelsea half in this first 45 so far. Right for the delivery by Son. Cleared away by Sanchez with a strong right-handed punch. Back out to Son it comes though. Whips another one in. Takes a deflection, which allows the clearance to be made by Trevor Chalobah. Nice Sancho. Back to Cucurella. That was better from Chelsea. Fernandez. Under a bit of pressure. Caught in possession by Solanke. Rolled it across to Madison. Solanke, Madison. Oh, Madison underhit that ball wide. And now Gusto's on a move. And Gusto's ball to Jackson, who was just shoulder barged. And convincingly well defended by Mickey van de Ven. That's strong defending. That's exactly what Spurs haven't done against Nicholas Jackson so far up until that moment. They've just allowed him to free roam around them and just get a bit physical. Make him know that you're there and you want to defend him. That's when he'll maybe start to close up a little bit and struggle a little bit more. Spurs have just allowed Nicholas Jackson the free control of that area one-on-one. Mickey van de Ven there maybe just putting an end to that. At least momentarily anyway. It's a nice touch inside there by Son. Nice Solanke. The through ball here given wide to Madison, who cuts it back. Couldn't find a teammate. Was he onside there? I don't think he was, James Madison. It looked miles off from what I could see. It just looked really clear that James Madison was offside. And how he didn't know that is anybody's guess. He didn't realise that he was offside. There's Palmer in his own half, having to do a bit of defending there by holding on to the ball, and Moises Caicedo was going to get a free kick there for a pull by James Madison, which the Spurs player is a bit aggrieved about. It was a pull, it was a foul. Free kick. No need for any extra arguing. There might be some thoughts in Thomas Tuchel's mind, because he is here tonight, the England head coach, about some of the players involved in this game, whether they could get an England call-up in the future. World Cup qualifiers around the corner in the next number of months, and England already started their World Cup qualifiers, of course, and in the last international break, but more of them will come in the next number of months, and maybe just trying to experiment with his squad. Thomas Tuchel coming here tonight. Maybe there's someone that catches his eye. We'll see if he can get a bit more out of them. Bergvall. Wide here to a doggy. Feeds it on to Son. Son now. Stopped in his tracks. Spurs a little bit loose. That's dreadful. Destiny Udogi's offside now. I mean, really? How inept do you have to be to try and overlap and not realise you're offside? I mean, that's just an example of what Spurs' first half has been. Awful. Non-existent, really. They've been in an attacking area in this first half, Spurs. Just really poor. Colwell with a launch over the top, and Sancho trying to make the run in behind, but Romero got control of the ball well there. Dealt with that threatening situation. Didn't look too unsettled, did Christian Romero. Sure, the Spurs fans happy to see that centre-back partnership back. Romero and Van de Ven again. They were one of the main reasons why Spurs were doing so well. And were kind of on the up, really, under Ange Postecoglou at the start. But this season's been a very different conversation, very different season. That ball across, all the way through and cleared by Chelsea. Maybe they're starting to get a little bit more joy further forward, Spurs, as the half comes to a close. As we edge closer to half-time, I should say. But again, you still don't feel in the game they're going to get a goal or they're going to score. You just feel like everything Spurs are throwing at Chelsea, they've got an answer for. Just need to be a little bit more energetic. That's lovely from Palmer. Incredible. Dispossessing Bentancur. And now he's breaking away and rolls it across. Nets out. Oh, couldn't get the shot off, but kept alive by Fernandez. Now nets out. Gusto. Spurs flood the bodies back into their box as Chelsea try and get them forward from their point of view. Brought down by Sancho's well onside, and I think he does get a fingertip to this. Does Guillermo Vicario. They're all in a real scuffle between all the players that, I mean, it's just a bit dramatic, really. Relax. Just chill out. But the referee, I think, dealt with that one well. I get tempers flaring and all that type of stuff, but really, just rise up, really. I've just no time for it, really. Time for that madness and sheer stupidity, as there's something going on there. Free kick here to Chelsea. Yeah, it's a really good save there from Vicario a few moments ago that denied Jadon Sancho. A really nice effort, but ends up coming to nothing. The resulting corner. Vicario, a big save after a bit of a nervy first half it has been for Vicario. He did make up with a good save. Right, that is half time. There was ultimately 4 minutes added on at the end of that first half of that crazy melee that we witnessed. But it is half time at Stamford Bridge, and a half time that is a first half which you would say Chelsea may be slightly the better of the two teams, but neither side really taking firm grip of this game. A couple of good chances for Chelsea, probably edges it for them in the first half, but it is goalless at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Tottenham 0 at the break. Analysis on the way next. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time at Stamford Bridge. It's Chelsea 0, Spurs 0. We're still continuing to have a few technical problems. If you were here with us last night, we had a couple of problems as well. We do apologise. We are really trying to resolve these issues. It's something that's really come out of the blue. All fine on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. Something's going wrong. We are trying our very, very best to make sure that we give you the best coverage possible. We are trying everything we can to make sure that works. We are at the moment working, so fingers crossed we can keep that going throughout the rest of the stream, and hopefully that will be us fixed forever. I'm not asking for much, am I? A big second half to come. Hopefully we'll get through it with you. At the moment, it is goalless, as I said, between the two teams. A first half, really, we'd have to say neither side showed their true potential. I think Chelsea showed better than what Spurs did. I think they were a little bit more control, a little bit more quality from Chelsea. But again, that struggle from Spurs, really clear to see. The lack of sharpness, lack of control, lack of any meaningful possession. You know, when Spurs got the ball, you were asking not what they're going to do with it, it's when Chelsea are going to get the ball back. Because you really didn't think, well, Spurs have got the ball. You just think, well, Chelsea's just going to get it back at some point here. Spurs are not going to do nothing. And that's what the first half really played out as. Spurs really struggled to create anything of real great note in that first half. Chelsea didn't have many massive chances. I think they had 2 or 3 decent opportunities. Jadon Sancho with a couple, and then Nicholas Jackson with that one right inside the first minute. So it's a game where Chelsea will want to improve and know they can be better, but Spurs can be miles better. Arguably, probably couldn't be worse in terms of their attack. They had 2 shots in that first half, none of them on target, and had over 45% of the ball. So it's not that they aren't getting the ball and aren't really getting enough of the ball to show it. They are getting almost half of the possession here, and they're just not getting it forward at any real rate of knots or any real kind of rate of confidence. There's just that void of everything in Spurs, and I said it a bit through that first half. It looked like Chelsea had more conviction. They looked at like they had more purpose in their possession, where Spurs looked a little bit lackluster with their possession. They were struggling to get it into the right areas, struggling to get any of their forward players or meaningful forward players onto the ball into the right spaces. So they were really struggling. Ange Postecoglou visibly angry with his players, screaming and shouting very early in that half as well with them about what was happening and what they were doing and what they weren't doing, probably more likely. So there is a clear disdain from the manager's point of view that whatever they did in that first half isn't what they probably wanted to do or probably what they thought they were going to be doing. And clearly nothing that Spurs have really done has actually worked in that first half, and I think a real adjustment in the second half is needed because they're really poor on the ball. I think they've really struggled with sustaining possession. And I would put that argument to both teams. Both teams have struggled to keep meaningful possession, but I think Chelsea have just done a little bit more with their ball possession so far, with their getting into the right areas a lot more often, and I think they're delivering the ball. It's not quite working, the delivery just yet. Kind of the whip, the cross, it's not quite connecting up in the final third, but at least they're getting there and getting opportunities to try and put the ball into the back of the net, Chelsea, whereas Spurs aren't even doing that, and that's what's concerning. And it goes back to that whole phrase, if you're getting into the right areas and not scoring, it's still a positive sign, but if you're not even getting into the right areas to try and score, that's when you start to worry, that's when you start to panic and think, what is really going wrong? Is there a fundamental issue? And it seems like at the minute with Spurs, they're so up and down this season. I think finish the season as quickly as possible and start over, completely start on a clean slate in the summer, because that's what they need. It's been a torrid season, and they're just basically living off the coattails of what a horrible season it has been for them. And this first half is just another example of where they've been really off at this season and really just poor, and when they're poor, they're really poor. But when they're good, they're really quite good. It's one of those ones where you don't know what Spurs is going to show up before the game. And clearly tonight, from that first half, it's a Spurs that aren't going to do very much that's shown up tonight. But I'm sure they will be hopeful and positive they can change that in the second half. But I wouldn't be too quick to go on that front. From Chelsea's point of view, there is a lot to improve, but as I said, there's a little bit more positivity about Chelsea because they're getting into the right areas, they're doing the right things. It's just not finishing that is their problem at the moment. They're getting the right opportunities, just not taking them at the moment, and that's where I'd be a little bit more positive about Chelsea from that first half. They've had more shots, more possession, more control of the ball, actually created some big chances, and they're looking more positive when they get the ball, Chelsea. And they're not just aimlessly passing it about to hope that someone does something. There is a bit of purpose and a bit of conviction in what they're doing, and at the minute it seems to be showing that at the moment. But it is still goalless, so anything can happen. A big second half to come, because anything can still happen. About 3.5 minutes away from the second half at Stamford Bridge. Already this midweek, let's just remind you of the scores from the previous 2 nights of Premier League action. Arsenal beating Fulham by 2-1 at the Emirates in that London derby to open the week. Wolves got a big victory at home to West Ham and trying to stave off any sort of threat of those teams below them in relegation battles. Nottingham Forest consolidating and solidifying a little bit more every game that they play, a chance to play Champions League football next season. They are third after that victory over Manchester United. Anthony Elanga with the only goal of that game against Manchester United. Ipswich with a massive victory last night. I said how Wolves are trying to stave off any hopes of a possible upset for them this season and possible relegation battle. They're 9 points ahead of Ipswich. They were 12 points ahead going into last night's fixtures. Ipswich winning, closing that gap back down to 9. And they play each other at the weekend, Ipswich and Wolves. That is set up fantastically. A big defeat for Bournemouth. Pretty poor for them. It's HCS Europe. Brighton beaten convincingly in the end by Aston Villa. Man City comfortable against Leicester, as were Newcastle against Brentford in the end, getting the victory. But Southampton still on course for a record lowest points finish this season. 10 points, 1 less than Derby. But they've 8 games to try and eradicate that hope. Or that kind of dread of any of that record breaks. Crystal Palace rescuing a point in the dying embers. And Liverpool went 12 points clear at the top of the Premier League with a big Derby Day victory. Diogo Jota with the goal to seal victory for Liverpool. Right, the second half at Stamford Bridge is on the way in just a moment. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Second half at Stamford Bridge on the way in a moment. Don't forget the Manchester derby. And we're back underway then for this second half. As I try and micromanage the technology problems that we're still having, honestly. Ooh. Cross went in there. Just goes wide. Solanke that was in the mix. Could have been a decent opportunity for Chelsea. Solanke almost helping them out in that process. Jackson was offside. Nicholas Jackson. You'll see it again. Free kick by Enzo Fernandez, and yeah, Solanke that slipped. Just got out of the way, and ultimately it went all the way through, but it could have been much more dangerous for Chelsea. That slip might have done something, but in the end it didn't. Through the lines, the ball there by Spurs again, wasteful. In possession, really wasteful. Welcome back. I've been all over the place trying to sort this out. It is 2-0 to Chelsea, so maybe I'm the unlucky charm, really, for the goals. There is a possible check of offside against this second goal from Chelsea. The first one by Enzo Fernandez, and then Caicedo with a check here. It was a clean strike. What a strike it was by Moises Caicedo. We've got to see, is he offside in the build-up? Or is there an offside in the build-up? We'll have to wait and see what the VAR has to say, but they are checking it at the moment. But Chelsea will be hoping to double their lead. It's been a lot better from them, a lot more consistent, a lot more kind of threatening from them in the second half. And we'll see if they are now 2-0 up. Caicedo, the one that is waiting patiently to see if he does have only his second Premier League goal of this season. They are drawing the line, so we are waiting, taking their time. As I was saying, I'm trying my best. I went off camera trying to mess about with wires, mess about with things. I don't know what's going on. I do apologise. It's been awful, absolutely awful. But thank you for staying with us. Thank you for watching with us. And the check should be complete. I saw a couple of lines there. It'll be great when this semi-automated comes in. Not at the weekend, it's next weekend, Matchday 32, so one full match week to go at the weekend of non-semi-automated, and then that starts on the 12th of April, so Matchday 32. We're still waiting on the result here. Almost 2 minutes waiting. Caicedo scored in the 56th, we're now in the 59th minute of the game. This is a big moment. This could be another nail in the coffin of Tottenham if they do go 2-0 down. At the stage of the game that they're in, might be absolutely tumbling their way to another massive defeat of this season. Really taking a long time. What's going on? There we are. The decision is offside. So no goal for Moises Caicedo. It's taken a long time to get to that situation. The referee still hasn't announced it to the crowd. Still hasn't. And the reaction is of boos ringing around Stamford Bridge, as you would expect. They thought they were 2-0 up. They're not. It is still 1-0. Certainly a long wait there. Jared Gillett, the VAR, took a long time at checking that. But as long as it's the right decision, that's all that matters. But, yeah, maybe a little bit quicker, please. Took 3 or 4 minutes to just rule out a goal. They want to try and make sure that they get a second goal. And fairly, here comes Neto down the right-hand side. Chops inside, lays it off to Gusto. Caicedo. Cucurella. Lovely little movement. Caicedo feeds it through. Palmer's in the box with a cutback. Good, strong left hand by Vicario. The Spurs trying to play out here. They do get it out of the box. Son tries to feed it down the line to Audebert, but dispossessed well by Marc Cucurella. It's just a little bit more control about Chelsea at the moment, and their pass is much sharper than Tottenham's. It has been all night, really. That's been the case, that they've been much sharper with their passing, Chelsea. Caicedo thought he'd scored his second Premier League goal of the season, but didn't. Ruled out by VAR for offside in the build-up. Neto. Gusto. Neto to Gusto again. Cucurella finds Sancho, rolls the ball in behind. Too much for Cole Palmer to chase. Will be a goal kick. Well, if we remember the reverse fixture between these two, it was certainly was the opposite of this one in terms of scoring wise. 7 goals was scored at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium back in December when these two first met this season. It was 2-1 to Tottenham at half time. Chelsea came back and won 4-3 in that game. Quite an incredible game. But this one, very, very different. Much closer in terms of the scoreline, but or certainly a lot less goals than the reverse fixture. But again, still in Chelsea's favour. I want to try and add to that. Free kick taken short. Palmer, oh, the referee's actually going to pull it back here. He wasn't allowing that free kick. He hadn't whistled there, the referee. As he walked away, yeah, he was still trying to set up the defensive defensive wall of Spurs there. There was no 10-yard wall. And the ref has to set up a defensive wall. He can't allow that free kick to be taken. Spurs players weren't at least 10 yards away from the ball, so therefore it wouldn't have been right. The referee gets it reset. Now they take it. Fernandes to Palmer, who will whip it deep. Cleared away at the back post there by Maddison with a header. Chelsea recycle it back in midfield here with Enzo Fernandez. Down the line to Neto. Infield to Palmer. Palmer back to Enzo Fernandez. Now Gusto. Wide it goes to Neto. Neto has the shot. Took a deflection, but it takes a deflection all the way out the other side for a throw-in. As Spurs make a double substitution here. It's going to see Wilson Odobert replaced by Brennan Johnson and Lucas Bergvall replaced by Pap Sarr. So Sarr and Johnson coming on, and they are replacing Odobert and Bergvall for Tottenham. Well, of course, this is the fixture in which Spurs lost the league title when they were battling Leicester back in 2016. Many will remember the night that Chelsea drew here with them 2-2. Actually 2-0 up in that game, Spurs, and faltered it to ultimately confirm Leicester as the Premier League champions back then. A long way since we've been back there. Tottenham haven't been anywhere near that since then. Here's Son. And behind, the cutback from a doggy will be a corner off Chalobah. There was some claims from Spurs players there that there was a handball. We'll have to see it again. I didn't see it first time that there was a handball. Yeah, nah. That's not happening. A doggy did cut it back. It did come off the arm of Trevor Chalobah, but his arm is down as balance. It's not a handball. They're asking the question, which they're probably right to, but rightfully the referee is saying not a chance. Not a chance that would be given as a penalty. As 25 minutes to go, 1-0 to Chelsea. Enzo Fernandez, the captain's goal, the difference, but Spurs still very much in this game, albeit it hasn't probably felt like it. They are in terms of the scoreline. Anything can still happen. Son ready to take this corner on the left-hand side for Spurs. Maddison and Jackson there pushing and shoving. Caicedo and Van de Ven are as well. Son's delivery away at the front post by Palmer. Still alive in the box though. Ball falls and Maddison. Or it was Van de Ven actually, sorry. I thought it was Maddison. Van de Ven with the shot easily gathered in the end by Sanchez. But little bit of a nervy moment there for Chelsea. Literally for a split second it looked like Spurs were in. Again, didn't really defend the corner very well. after the first header by Palmer at the front post. The defending wasn't great by Chelsea, and Van de Ven had a half chance at getting a shot off. The shot was pretty easily gathered by Robert Sanchez. That's actually the only shot they've had in the second half so far, Spurs, that one. Chelsea have had 4. It's the ball over the top there. It's going to be pulled back for a free kick because the ball was going nowhere, but there's a foul by Nicholas Jackson here on Christian Romero. Little bit late. The ball was already away. It wasn't any malicious intent there from Nicholas Jackson, just a bit clumsy. The referee's going to give him a yellow card for that challenge. And now Chelsea are going to make changes of their own here at this juncture. Jadon Sancho's going to make way, and Noni Madueke is going to be coming on. So Madueke on for Sancho. Certainly no shortage of players to bring on our Chelsea. Excuse me. But they do have a number of players still out. Of course, Mikhailo Mudryk, one of the high profile ones. Noni Madueke was injured. There's a bit of a doubt for this game, but he is on the bench. It was on the bench, and now he's on the field of play with 25 minutes or so, just less than that to go. Son finding Maddison, cuts it back from the byline. Sarr got a touch, wanted a penalty as he went down. He's not going to get that. And Maddison comes back from an offside position to try and challenge for the ball, which gets Chelsea a free kick. Caicedo and Sarr a little bit aggrieved with each other as Enzo Fernandez tries to be the peacemaker. That's terrible. That's a dive. That's a dive. Caicedo does not touch him one bit. Pape Sarr leaves his leg out to try and make any contact with Caicedo. There was no contact. That should be a dive. That's shocking. Absolutely shocking. Sarr making the claim, but I mean, seriously, deep down you have to know there's no contact there whatsoever as they dispossess here, Chelsea. And Sarr shoots! Oh! It's snuck in! Chelsea claiming a foul, but Spurs get the goal, and they're back level. Chelsea remonstrating with the referee. They felt there was a foul in the build-up, but just as Pape Sarr dived to try and get a penalty a minute ago, stepped up and gets a very good goal from distance. Snuck its way through Robert Sanchez, come off the underside of the crossbar. Fabulous. Tottenham are level. See this again. Caicedo, was he fouled? I mean, he did catch Caicedo. But is it a clear and obvious error from the referee? I mean, he had a right to go for the ball. He did slightly catch him, but I mean, it's terrible goalkeeping from Robert Sanchez. What are you doing there? But it's a wonderful goal from Pape Sarr. And Spurs are level in this game. However, are they? VAR are going to have a look at this. And the referee's actually been called to the monitor. So you can guess what's going to happen from that. This game's nuts. Nuts. They're checking the goal. The referee's over having a look at it now. I think it's a foul. He catches him. And Caicedo trying to get the ball away. He doesn't get any of the ball, Pape Sarr, and just catches the left knee of Moises Caicedo. To me, it's a foul. But yeah, I can see why the referee didn't give it initially, but it has to be overturned, surely. He just catches the left knee of Caicedo. He doesn't win the ball whatsoever. I could get it if he won the ball and then Caicedo went down. I would understand why it's not a foul. But he catches Moises Caicedo on the follow-through. I think this should be disallowed. Ange Postecoglou making the claim it shouldn't be disallowed, but, I mean, come on. You've looked at the pictures, you can see. He's caught him and got none of the ball. I mean, it looks pretty clear to me. His studs come up. He catches the left knee of Caicedo. It actually should be a foul. It really should be a free kick. And maybe a yellow card going Pape Sarr's way. In a real look at it. I mean, Ange Postecoglou can't believe it, but I'm sorry. I don't care. It might be bias absolutely clouding his judgment massively, because that is a foul. And I really think this should be disallowed. And now the referee is going to say no goal and a yellow card for Pape Sarr. Exactly what I said should happen. That's two moments that Pape Sarr will not want to see back. Wanted a penalty, straight dive, and then he gets a booking after he thought he'd scored, but has given away a foul. And I think that's the fair decision. Pape Sarr gets a yellow card. And Spurs' equalizer gets chalked off. And James Maddison's complaining. What is actually happening? Some booing around the ground. Oh, that's why there's been another booking, and it's gone to Marco Correa. That's why the crowd are booing. Maybe it's due to remonstrating with the referee, I think. That might be the reason. Yellow card for Cucurella as well. Still 1-0 to Chelsea. So both teams have thought they'd scored. Both being disallowed for various different things. One for an offside, one for a foul. Chelsea thought they were 2-0 up. Not to be. Spurs thought they were level. Again, not to be. And we're back with Chelsea, who lead by a goal to nil with less than 20 minutes to go. It's Marco Correa's 7th yellow card of the season, that booking that he received. It's the 5th yellow card shown by Craig Pawson tonight. With less than 20 to go, Fernandes and Neto are over this free kick, wide on the right-hand side for Chelsea. I'm sure they'll be desperate just to get a second goal and put this game to bed, those Chelsea players, because this has been way more chaotic than they probably wanted it to be in these last 15 minutes. Fernandes, right-footed, back post, curling away from goal. It was always hard to deal with there. Kept alive by Caicedo. Now Gusto. Now Palmer. Swings it out to the far left side. Beautifully taken down. But the flag has gone up against Nicholas Jackson. Offside. .15 to go. Chelsea with the narrowest of leads. To be fair, my two previous games that I've commentated on this midweek have ended 1-0 to the home team. So it would just be fitting that the third and final game of the week follows suit. And I'm a bit peeved that the technology has let me down tonight, that I didn't have the clip for the goal. If that does end up being the only goal of the game that actually stands, that'll be a bit frustrating. Oh, missed header. Oh, goodness. Keeper had to come for that one. Otherwise, it was a free run in behind for Nicholas Jackson. Mickey van der Ven left the ball and it bounced behind, and Jackson almost got on the end of it, but Vicario came rushing out, got it away. I think there was a flag up anyway, but it didn't look like offside to me. Gotta say, this has been mental. A mental game of football tonight here at Stamford Bridge. It's not over yet. Here's a Dougie. Now Son. And the left side, Heung-min Son. Bobbling about the box, and that's going to be a goal kick. Last touch off Heung-min Son there as he was seen out by Malo Gusto. Just seeing that moment of Pape Sarr again going down wanting a penalty. It's just shocking. It's just never a penalty. It's never a foul. And then, not long later, they were colliding again, those two. This time there was contact, and it was Caicedo that was fouled by Pape Sarr. Maybe justice served there, shall we say. The cynics might say it was justice. And the fact that Caicedo, or that Pape Sarr dived, wanting a foul, and then right 30 seconds later, he actually commits a foul to deny himself an equalising goal. Van de Ven. Over the top it goes again. Oh, not cleanly dealt with there by Gusto. Falls to Son. Maddison, nice Sarr. Wasn't going to shoot from distance there. Spence. Johnson. Sarr, is he onside? Gets the cross in. Cleared away by Gusto. Bouncing around. Maddison trying to get a shooting opportunity. Brennan Johnson not given the time and space. And Chelsea clear it away. Neto tried to turn that into an attacking move. In the end, wins a throw-in off the head of Christian Romero. Oh, lovely give and go there between Neto and Palmer. Here's Cole Palmer. Couldn't get the cross in. Blocked by Romero. It will be a Chelsea throw. They're still trying to push for that second goal at Chelsea. Spurs have, to be fair, pushed for an equalizer. A little bit better, but again, still nowhere near the level that they should be at, or should be at least competing with Chelsea. Second half alone, they've had less than 40% possession, just the one shot in the game, and an XG of 0.10. So really, really poor showing. It's actually less XG than they had in the first half of 0.12. So showing less opportunity to score in the second half based on the stats. But the momentum, you'd have to argue, has gone a little bit more even. That's a lovely turn by Fernandes! Vicario with a good save low in his own 6-yard box. And now Maddison on the move on the counter. James Maddison. Got bodies in front of him. Finds Heung-min Son. Son at the edge of the box. Son! Absolutely cleaned out there on the edge of the box. It's going to be a free kick to Spurs and a yellow card for Pedro Neto, I believe that was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Son stepped on the inside. And it's Pedro Neto just taking his left leg from underneath him. And it's a yellow card for him. His 8th of the season. For Pedro Neto. That's the 6th yellow card of the night. 3 for each team. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. 4 for Chelsea, 2 for Spurs. And this is a tempting one for James Maddison. Certainly his eyes surely lighting up. This sort of position. 20 yards out. Slightly to the left of goal. And with 10 minutes of this game to go, it still hangs in the balance. Both sides still capable of getting something out of this. Son winning his team a free kick. Maddison ready to take it. Whistle goes. James Maddison stepping up. And the shot comes off the wall. And deflects behind. Will be a Spurs corner. Couldn't get it past the wall there, Maddison. It was a good wall. Strong. Did its job. Did what it needed to do. Now Spurs have a corner. More of these tussling moments. Maddison's corner. Up in the air goes from Palmer at the front post. Kept alive by Johnson. Finds it back to Maddison. Rolls it round the corner. Brennan Johnson lifts it into the box. The header goes down. Goodness, a scramble from Chelsea as Spence has the shot. Well over the bar. And he's claiming a corner. Goal kick's going to be given, I think. Although they might have called for handball, actually, Spurs. Yeah, lovely little combination. Madison and Johnson. Ball into the box. It was Sarr that got the header to it. Kind of bobbled around. Chelsea couldn't scramble it away. And it fell to Jed Spence, whose shot went well over the bar. As the Chelsea are gonna make another substitution. It's gonna see Nicholas Jackson be replaced by Reece James. So an extra defender on for Chelsea. Maybe just trying to take precautions of maybe trying to just see this one out now. That maybe a second goal isn't the most important priority. Just trying to get the result, get the 3 points might be the thinking. It would be the 15th time this season they've won a Premier League game. That'll be a 50% win rate for Chelsea. 15 wins out of their 30 games. For Spurs, it would actually be more than 50% of a losing rate this season if they were to lose tonight. 16 games lost out of 30. The worst after 30 games in Spurs' Premier League history. Which is quite stark. That is still thinking that they won't get something out of this, Spurs. They very rarely draw games. The joint least amount of draws of any Premier League side this season, with 4 draws. Southampton have 4 draws as well. They're the only 2 teams with less than 5 draws this the Premier League season. As here's Gusto with a run in behind. Malo Gusto gets into the box, spins his man. Can he feed it off? Palmer's whip round the back post. Forced a good hand off Vicario. Kept alive here. Neto. Fernandez. Madueke to Reece James. He held on well. Chalobah now wide to Fernandez. Tried to go for the cross. Blocked by Madison. Brought down by Son. Long way to go for Spurs if they want to get forward. As they just go back to Mickey van der Ven. Well, if Spurs were to lose tonight, it would be the 4th successive defeat against Chelsea. They've lost the last 3, 4-3, 2-0 and 4-1, both home and away. The last time Spurs beat Chelsea was a 2-0 victory at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in February of 2023. The last time they won here, though, at Stamford Bridge, you have to go all the way back to 2018. The last time Spurs beat Chelsea at the Bridge, when they won 3-1 on that day. Eriksson and Dele Alli, the scorers on that day for Tottenham. That's the last time they tasted a victory at Stamford Bridge in any competition, not just the Premier League. And they've also had 2 cup ties here since then in the League Cup, both ending in Chelsea victories. Van der Ven there, a bit hobbly, not too strong on his leg there as he got back to his feet. There's a free kick here for Chelsea. On this right hand side, Madueke and Neto. Madueke rolls it forward. Try to break into the box. Madueke. Wide it goes to Neto again. 5 minutes of the 90 to go. And I think the flag's gone up. Spurs want to take it quickly, but the referee's not going to allow them. Mental. As I said, don't forget, more Premier League action for you this weekend. Our big game, the big focus this Sunday is on the Manchester derby. Man United v Manchester City. Sunday 4:30 on LFS. Looking forward to that one. Cole Palmer given a yellow card for, I think, kicking the ball away. Or officially known as delaying the restart. That's what the rule says. The action that he did was just kick the ball away. Spence, Romero, closed into a tight space. Good Chelsea press there as Spurs hoof it in the air. Nicely taken down by Chalobah, who's got a space ahead of him. Look at this from Chalobah. Well shielded there by, I think that was a doggy, it was. And Mickey van der Ven wants a foul. He's not going to get one. It's going to be a Chelsea throw-in. See this again. Chalobah skips past, or he tries to get past a doggy. And then as he just tries to jump forward to get away from him, he slightly catches Mickey van der Ven. But, I mean, stop crying. Just get up and get on with it. My God. I gotta say, sometimes in these derbies, people just lose their heads for no reason. I mean, there's a difference between making it a very feisty game and just being a complainer for no reason whatsoever. It's going to be Mickey van der Ven's last involvement because he's off the field now, and James Maddison is joining him too. As Spurs make a double substitution. Van der Ven and Maddison off, and Pedro Porro and Matthias Tell are on for the final few minutes of normal time to try and rescue a point, if they can do so, for Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham. Fernandes under pressure, or certainly putting a doggy under pressure there. He went down in the box, but nothing in that. Reece James takes control of the ball. It just seems like, and I've said it all night, Chelsea have just got that air of confidence, that air of control about them the whole way through tonight, where you don't think that they're going to be rattled at any stage. As there is a stoppage here for VAR to check this possible foul on Enzo Fernandez. See the second one. I mean, he gets his foot in. Has he just tangled his leg between him and Adogi? Is that a foul? I don't think there was any more need for forensic examining of that one. It's one of those ones, if the ref gives it, they're not going to overturn it. But if he doesn't give it, there's just no need to overturn it either. It's just one of those ones. Leave it up to the ref. It's a subjective one. Just let the referee play the game. Let the game go. And VAR did so. No further action. Yeah, I don't think there's many complaints to that. If it was given, I don't think we'd complain either. That's a lovely ball by Caicedo. Palmer stopped in his tracks there well by Romero. And now Spurs want to break forward. Lovely little ball forward. Charge down the right side from Brennan Johnson across Son! What a save by Sanchez! That is incredible. Fabulous save. Son with a chance at the back post. It looked like an empty net until Sanchez come diving across to smother it out. Son stretching to try and find it. And Robert Sanchez, my goodness, what a save. Smothered it fantastically. Will be a Spurs corner. Not done just yet. Porro's delivery. Headed away by Chelsea. Kept alive for the shot in the edge of the box from Tell. It goes well wide. It's a fantastic save. Great break down the right side by Spurs. Brennan Johnson squares it right across the 6-yard box. No one in Chelsea blue trying to stop it. And it falls to Son at the back post. And he's done all he could there, Son. Stretching, getting it towards the target. And the keeper absolutely smothers it. Believe it or not, the 90 minutes are up, but we're still going to go on for a good while here because there's 12 added minutes. 12 minutes of added time. With the many VAR checks and drama we've had in this second half, we'll have 12 additional minutes at the end of this game. As Chelsea are going to make a double substitution now. It's going to see Cole Palmer and Enzo Fernandez coming off. And Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall and Tosin, I believe it is, that are going to be coming on. Palmer not too happy by being taken off. There's quite a clear signal from the two substitutes there. Dewsbury Hall and Towson of what system they're going to play till the end. A 5-4-1. They couldn't have made it any clearer. Went like that. That's exactly what Kieran Dewsbury Hall did. I mean, as clear as you like. It leaves it a little bit easier for me to know what sort of system they're going to play till the end. So it will be Reece James at right wing back, Marco Correa at left wing back, and then the three centre backs of Towson, Chalobah and Colwill for Chelsea. The back five, then a bank of four, and then they'll just leave one up front for the remainder of this one. There's Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank watching on. Doesn't look too entertained. And 10 minutes of the 12 added to go. Still Chelsea who lead by a goal to nil. Enzo Fernandez's goal at the moment would be enough for Chelsea to claim all 3 points. But is there another twist in this quite unpredictable tale that has unfolded here at Stamford Bridge tonight? And is there a massive ending grand finale that will change the outcome of the result? Solanke offside there. Gets Chelsea a free kick. They just can't get any sort of momentum tonight, Spurs. Not at all. But in the end, the game will probably end up being the right result. Spurs have had a little bit better with the shooting in the last 5-10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. But again, just not able to take their chance, and overall the stats would probably read a little bit more even in the fact that both sides have not been at their best tonight. I think Chelsea a little bit, I mean, the fact if the second goal goes in, if the second goal gets given for Moises Caicedo, which it shouldn't because it's offside, but if in the scenario that it is onside and it goes 2-0 to Chelsea, I have no doubts in the fact that I think Chelsea would just cruise to a simple victory. But the fact that that goal gets disallowed, I don't know whether it unsettles Chelsea or whether it gives Spurs a little bit of confidence. Then Spurs get their equalizer, quite controversially. That gets ruled out, so then the momentum maybe goes back Chelsea's way. And now, after that, Spurs have had a little bit of a moment. A little bit more positive. But again, when they get in front of goal, they've just been unfortunate. I mean, Son's chance about 5 minutes ago is probably a very, very good opportunity. It's no doubt a very good opportunity, and it's a fantastic bit of goalkeeping from Robert Sanchez to deny him. But in the end, you just have to say that's where Spurs have been lacking tonight. Overall, their XG 0.79. Chelsea's is 1.08, so there's not a major difference there in terms of XG. It's not that Chelsea have absolutely destroyed Spurs or dominated them in that way. Here's a chance. Solanke beats off a man. Solanke down the left side. Tell into the box. Mathias Tell lays it off. Sarr the edge. Not going to shoot that time. Porro now finds Bentancur. Lovely little ball back wide to Mathias Tell now. Tell's cross into the hands of Robert Sanchez again in the middle. Again, decent approach play there from Spurs. Keeping the ball moving. Keeping Chelsea guessing. As the ball comes wide, Tell's cross whipped in, but whipped right into the hands of Robert Sanchez. Will Chelsea have another London derby to come? It will be their third successive Premier League London derby. Arsenal, followed by Tottenham, and then they will head to Brentford at the weekend. That's on Sunday afternoon, before they then travel to Legia Warsaw, to Poland, to face Legia Warsaw in the Conference League quarter-final. First leg next Thursday. Spurs then, they've got a home game against Southampton. Probably one of their most convincing performances this season is away at Southampton, where they won 5-0 earlier in the season. They host Southampton at the weekends, and then they host Eintracht Frankfurt in next midweek, next Thursday evening, in the Europa League quarter-finals. And that's what's to come in the next 7 days for these two. Another Premier League game followed by a big European game. And that's probably the only shining light of Spurs this season, will be their European campaign in the quarter-finals of the Europa League. Probably one of the favourites to get to the final. Eintracht Frankfurt, not a pushover team, so it will be tough for Tottenham. Chelsea by far the favourites in the Conference League. So far, even Copenhagen couldn't even give them a test. Look at that from Pedro Porro. He's going to get a yellow card, surely. That is unacceptable. Screaming, literally screaming in the face of the assistant referee that he wasn't given a corner. And it probably should have been a corner, but there's no excuse for that. Absolutely screaming in his face. I get he's frustrated, but there is no excuse for absolutely gouldering in an assistant referee's face. That is shocking. Shocking. And it's the another player in the book. I mean, how many is that now? The 3 for Spurs. What, 6 for Chelsea? 5 for Chelsea? That's the 8th yellow card given out. The 6th of the second half alone given out. And we've 4 minutes of these 12 added on to come. So we're only 2/3 of the way through the added time. Still Chelsea lead by a goal to nil. Still Spurs try and push for an equalizer, but still Chelsea fend them off. And remember, if Chelsea do win, they will go up to back into the top 4 again after being pushed out after City and Newcastle won last night. They will go back above those two teams if they claim victory here this evening. On to 52 points. If they win this evening, Chelsea, Spurs will stay on 34 in 14th. Porro tried the cross, did it get a deflection? The assistant giving the corner. 3 minutes of the time remaining. Spurs need something of real great quality. Something to inspire them for the final number of games of the season. Porro's delivery. Headed away by Chalobah. Brought down by Johnson, but he run into his opposite number in Kieran Dewsbury Hall. And that will be a goal kick. Oh, Brennan Johnson there absolutely booted the ball at the advertising hoarding, and maybe a bit fortunate not to get a yellow card for delaying the restart, but maybe the referee's feeling a bit of pity for him. But again, you can say that Spurs have been poor, Spurs have been this, Spurs have been that. Chelsea haven't been miles better. You got to argue that point. But in the end, it's going to come down to, like the last 2 nights, as I said, you can do all you like, but if you don't put the ball in the back of the net, you can have no complaints about the final result. No complaints whatsoever. That's what I said about Manchester United. That's what I said about Everton last night and the night before. You don't score, you can have no complaints about the final result, because that's what the game's all about. Maybe the teams that they lost to this week, or they might lose to this week, maybe haven't been at their utmost best either, but all that matters is you get the result at this stage of the season, especially for what the 3 teams we've watched are fighting for. Forest, Champions League, Liverpool the title, and Chelsea, Champions League football. In those sort of positions, all you have to do is just get the result. Doesn't matter if you don't play the most scintillating, top quality football. Sometimes you have to grind out results, and it's maybe those games if you do grind them out and do get the results when you're not at your best, that's where you show your character, your pedigree, and that you're deserving of top positions and top finishes in football. As we're into the 102nd minute of this game. It's last chance saloon for Spurs. Let's try and get something. Son. Tell over the top. Again, good header by Cucurella and a massive clearance by Malo Gusto. The touch taken back there by Bentancur. Back to his keeper. Time is against Spurs. It's running out. They need to move it quickly and get it up the field fast if they're going to try and have a threat at a late equalizer. Going to have barely one more chance if the referee allows it. The 102 minutes are up. Is there just an extra 20 seconds? They can't get the ball, Spurs. They've given it away. And Madueke is brought down. And that really should be that. There's going to be a yellow card for Jed Spence. And that should really wrap this game up with this Chelsea free kick now. It's the 9th yellow card of the evening for Jed Spence. 5 for Chelsea, 4 for Spurs. And the crowd now believe they've got over the line. They're just waiting on the final whistle. They're singing along. And Enzo Fernandez loving the singing. Enjoying that on the bench there. And the kick there from Reece James. Straight out of play for a throw-in. To Spurs. They're still going. Still going. Referee has not blown his whistle yet. Spurs need something. They're not going to get the chance. Reece James intercepted and the final whistle blown. They made hard work of it, Chelsea, but they do claim all 3 points and are one step closer to their ultimate task this season of trying to qualify for Champions League football next season. They're back up to 4th. Back above Man City and Newcastle. And that goal from Enzo Fernandez was enough to get them all 3 points. Spurs huffed and puffed throughout the evening. But in the end, when you don't score, you just really can't complain about not getting a result. Especially away from home. They thought they did have an equalising goal through Pape Sarr, but disallowed through a foul in the build-up. I'm sure the arguments will continue long into the night about that. But no one cares of Chelsea Blue because they are taking one step further forward in their chase for Champions League football. Final score in this London derby certainly wasn't a high-scoring thriller. It was a tight, grippy, cagey affair. But it was one that was won by Chelsea. Final score, Chelsea 1. Tottenham Hotspur 0. And there it is, the final results of Matchday 30 in the Premier League. And only 2 away wins in there. 7 of our results this weekend have ended in home victories. Palace, Villa and Ipswich, the only 3 away sides to come away with anything away from home this midweek. Great Matchday 30 action. Only one team scored 3 goals. It was Aston Villa. Certainly not a high scoring week. That's it though from another midweek of action here in the Premier League. It's been, well, the last 3 nights have witnessed 1-0 victories for home teams. I mean, I kind of thought I might see that tonight, but I did. I predicted it. I definitely did mean to. 3 wins over the last 3 nights for home teams. All 1-0 wins. All battling for big things for their seasons. And the 3 away sides coming away with nothing in seasons they will probably want to forget. Spurs, certainly the 3rd of that list. If I was a Spurs fan, I'd just go home and cry. I mean, it's awful. Awful. They were dreadful in the first half. They were better in the second half. Credit to them. They were better. They were unlucky. Obviously, the goal disallowed, but rightfully so. It was disallowed. It's not the official's fault. But again, at no point tonight did I feel Spurs were ever going to really put Chelsea under major pressure or make Chelsea look second best. They're just that. If I don't believe, surely the players aren't believing. I'm not saying that it's the end of Ange Postecoglou's era at Spurs. I don't think that whatsoever. I don't think they should sack him. No doubt about that. But it's just not good at all. And Spurs fans, angry. Really angry on that away. And you can probably understand why. It's dreadful. Absolutely dreadful what they're witnessing this season. But every team has a bad season. Spurs, another one to add to their very long list of bad seasons, although they're still in Europe, so there is still a little glimmer of hope that they can get anything out of this season. But for Chelsea, they're on the up. Enzo Maresca continues to deliver some good things out of Chelsea. They're inconsistent this season, but you don't have to be winning every week to get into Champions League, especially now it looks like it may be the top 5 that will get in there. Chelsea 4th at the moment, and they are very much in the battle for Champions League football next season. Before we leave you tonight, let's just show you what the table looks like after Matchday 30. Now, there are 2 teams that have only played 29 games. Crystal Palace, and Newcastle. They will play in a midweek coming up this month. Due to, of course, their appearance in the Carabao Cup final, Newcastle, that game was postponed against Palace. But they have only played 29, but every other team has played 30. So let's have a look at the table then. Liverpool lead the way on 73 points, 12 ahead of Arsenal on 61. Forest adding another 3 points for the 3rd successive game to their tally on 57 now. Are Nottingham Forest, they're really cruising their way to a Champions League place, but it's not done and dusted yet. Chelsea up into 4th. Back to winning ways after losing last time out to Arsenal before the international break. Back to winning ways. 3 wins in the last 4. Man City in 5th on 51 points, followed by Newcastle on 50, making up the top 6. Aston Villa bidding a big victory, moving a number of places up the table to reignite their hopes of Champions League football. 48 points. They are on, so they are 3 points as it stands off Champions League football, so still very much in the mix. And then Brighton, Fulham and Bournemouth all falling to defeats this midweek, all losing ground on those teams above them. Into the bottom half then is where we will see a couple of the teams we've witnessed lose this midweek. Brentford beaten by Newcastle, they're in 11th. Palace rescuing a point out of Southampton away to get onto 12th. United and Spurs both losing once again. They are in 13th and 14th. Terrible seasons for those 2 football clubs. They're Everton, a relatively positive end to the season for them, but a defeat in the derby last night. Along with West Ham, they're also on 34 points. And Wolves, good results for them recently, has them on 29 points. 9 clear of Ipswich, who got a big victory last night. They might just yet try and rescue themselves from relegation, and Leicester and Southampton make up the bottom 3. That's it from us tonight. We're back at the weekends. Manchester Derby on the way for you at the weekend. Man United hosting Manchester City at Old Trafford Sunday, 4:30 for that one. You don't want to miss that massive Manchester Derby, as United try and rescue any sort of positivity and might want to upset the apple cart of Man City trying to chase Champions League football. We'll see what happens then. That's Sunday, 4:30. Thanks for your company tonight. It's been a real roller coaster, both the game and the stream. We'll try our very best to get the best out of it and try and resolve any of those issues before the weekend. But thanks for persevering with us. And I'll get my words out. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for your company tonight. It's been great as always. And we'll see you again very shortly. Night night.